What's up, YouTube? Donovan the Smartphone Guy coming back at you with another video, and tonight we're going to take a look at a device that's brand new to me. It's a company that I have never purchased from before. This is Ulefone, and this is called the Power 2, and as the name would probably indicate, the reason why this phone is maybe worth considering is the massive battery. So this is rocking a 60,050 milliamp hour battery, and you can see that it is not a thin device. I wish I had some devices sitting next to me that I could compare it to, but it is definitely not a thin device, and it's pretty weighty. But in terms of specs, we're going to go ahead and bring those up. So you can see there's a fingerprint sensor up here. I'll go ahead and jump into gearbest.com. So that's where I picked it up, $180. You can see you can pick it up right now for $180. We're going to go ahead and go into the description and take a look at some of the specs. So it is unlocked for worldwide use, but with that being said, super important, make sure that you check the areas that it's compatible with, because I'm going to go down here into the networks. So real important, if you live in the United States, it is missing band 850 for 3G, and that's what you would use with T-Mobile and AT&T. So it's GSM unlocked, but you won't get HSP in a lot of places because it's missing one of the key bands for those two carriers. With 4G, it's also missing band 700, which is really important in the United States. So overseas, if you live outside the United States, chances are you're going to get 4G or 3G at least minimum, but in the United States, you probably want to pass on this device. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in on some of the specs. So it has a 5.5-inch 1080p display, which looks absolutely beautiful in my opinion. It is running Android 7.0 out of the box. Now, I've never had a Ulefone phone before, so I don't know how good they are at updating their phones, but at least it's running 7.0 out of the box. It has a MediaTek 6750T octa-core processor. That's 1.5 gigahertz, 4 gigs of RAM, and 64 gigs of onboard storage. So definitely future-proof in terms of those two things, but maybe that processor, not the fastest processor, but also not too bad either. So it says here 13 megapixel main camera. Out of the box, it is set to 13 megapixels, but it actually shoots up to 16 megapixels, so that's something worth mentioning here. And then on the front, it doesn't say here, but the front firing camera up here is, it says 8 megapixels, but actually it can shoot up to 13 megapixels as well, so that's something worth mentioning. So it does support quick charge, and it does also support OTG, so if you want to charge other devices with this one, you can do that, which is pretty cool. Some other things worth mentioning here, it does not have NFC, so you notice that's missing, and it does not have a gyroscope, so also worth mentioning there. And we already talked about the network, so I'm going to go ahead and skip out of that. So in terms of build quality, we got a metal phone here, plastic, headphone jack, and then we got micro USB, microphone, speaker. We'll listen to that speaker in a little bit. We got, of course, our calling speaker there, and then we have power button and volume rocker. But yeah, so metal back, kind of a matte back finish there. So definitely metal, but it's a kind of a little bit of a fingerprint collector. In the box, this is definitely worth mentioning because I wish more carriers would do this. To me, this is just fantastic what you get out of the box with this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and slide all this out of here. So get a real nice micro USB cable. Kind of wish that was the Type C, but you get what you get. And so here's our OTG cable. So again, you can use it to power other devices. You can see here that it does not come with the US plug. So that's what you get out of the box. And then here, this is where all the magic happens right here, because I just wish seriously, I wish every carrier, regardless of the price of the phone, would include these kinds of things. So it comes with this little ring, so you can stick that to the back of the phone, and then you can use that as a stand, or just to hold the phone. So we got the user manual. This is actually a tempered glass screen protector. It did come with a plastic one out of the box. I took that off, and it does come with tempered glass, which is very cool. And then also, this thing comes with a really nice case. So I haven't actually put the case on it, but yeah, this is a pretty nice case in my opinion. So not just a cheap plastic case, kind of has that leathery look to it. I'm sure it's not real leather, but either way, pretty sweet that it comes with that out of the box, and fits real well. So tempered glass, Nice case with it. Got that little ring thing with it. I guess the only thing it's maybe missing would be headphones, but other than that, it comes with just about everything in the box, which is really cool. So in terms of cameras, I'm just going to go ahead and show you real quick the pictures that I took with it so far, and I'll go ahead and show these at the end of the video as well, but I just want to point out that the cameras aren't particularly great, at least in my experience so far. I'll further explore this a little bit more. That's where I'm actually shooting this at. Let's go back here to previous, and there we go. So pretty good details in that picture. That was pretty bright. Same thing with that one. Here's one where kind of worth mentioning. So this is, using the back camera. Notice that Logitech is pretty out of focus there. And just a picture of the box. Kind of overexposed certain areas, but you can still kind of see the box there a little bit. And this is a low light picture, so I'll go ahead and zoom in on my daughter's face there. You can see that's pretty darn grainy. But again, I'll put all these pictures at the end of the video as well. So that's kind of a lower light picture. Still, daytime, but a lower light picture in my bedroom or in my living room. So another thing I wanted to point out here is we'll go ahead and go into Geekbench. So you can see the Geekbench scores in terms of performance. You're looking at a pretty decent processor. This is not going to be the fastest processor by any means, but in terms of gameplay, I've played some games like NBA Jam, Hill Climb Racer 2. Both of those games played pretty flawlessly on this phone, so I'll go ahead and just show you. There's no frame drops at all. So that's overall, I'd say pretty darn good. Gameplay on it for lighter games will be just fine. You're not going to want to play any super heavy games on it or anything, but overall, I would say gaming is pretty darn good. So, okay, go ahead and stop that, swipe over, and get out of that. Okay, so other things worth mentioning, need to go into the settings. So the Android version that this is running is actually pretty darn stock. So you can see that they kind of like that black, dark look to it. Come over here and just pretty much the standard Android shortcuts there. And then in terms of the actual settings here, there is really nothing here that's different. It does have this hot knot, which is worth mentioning. So that's just a data exchange things between two devices. But then the other things worth mentioning down here in terms of Android 7.0 that this adds to it would be this float gesture. So basically it just has some gestures here that you can jump into. So it has game mode, lock screen, gesture recognize, float video, different options here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So those are some options that are available. It does have this one-hand float view. Again, basically kind of the same idea. This just allows you to swipe to get certain gestures here as well. I did not like that one at all. I found it kind of obnoxious, especially if I use it when gaming. It kind of messed some things up. Smart Simoda Sensory basically are swipes that you can use, so you can move between galleries. You can switch phone or switch music by swiping across the phone. We can also do that same thing with camera and in the launcher as well. And to unlock the phone, you can see there's a number of different options in that one. We have some gesture motions as well. So here we can turn to silence the phone. So if I just turn it down, it will silence it. I can answer with a swing. So by swinging it up to my ear, that'll answer the phone. And then we have that smart switch as well. And then we have some system motions. So 3-point for screenshot. So I can swipe down and it'll take a screenshot. If I swipe up with 3 fingers, it'll go to the camera. So you can see those obviously work quite well. We have 2 points to auto adjust the volume. So again, I can go swipe up and there goes the volume, swipe down. Now that one is one that you actually want to turn off while you're gaming because that one will accidentally activate while you're playing a game, which gets really frustrating. So definitely turn that off if you're playing a game. And then we have double tap to lock and unlock. So that one works really well as well. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, okay, so let's try that again. Turn it off, double tap. There it goes. Okay. Well, that one did work pretty well at first when I was trying it. So I'm not sure why it wasn't working there at first there. Let's see here. Double tap the home key at any interface. Oh, double tap the home key. Oh, home. There we go. Okay. So I guess that's one I apparently need to learn a little bit still. So going back into the settings, let's see what else we got here. So we already talked about gesture motions, gesture unlock. Okay, so these are some things when you're on the lock screen. So you can start your music, camera, email, different things. So basically, if I'm in here, if I want to go into my email, just type in an E. You can see it automatically goes in. Now when I go in, it'll automatically jump into my email. So kind of cool. So all those gestures work quite well. Personally, the only ones I ever use on there would be like camera and flashlight. Those are the two I tend to use on things like that. And then there's also parallel space. So parallel space is actually really cool because what that allows you to do is it allows you to have multiple accounts on the same app. So I can go in here, add in a certain app like Facebook, and now I can actually have two different Facebook apps into two different, like if I have maybe one account personal and one account for business, I can log into both of them simultaneously on two different apps basically. So it mirrors the app and allows you to have two accounts on it. So that's actually really useful. And then other than that, I think that's about it. Everything else is pretty standard Android 7.0. So they add some useful things, some, not so useful things, I would say. But overall, pretty good. And then the performance, like I said, is also pretty good. Camera is okay so far. That's just kind of my experience. So in terms of the software, it's a pretty light version of Android 7.0, which I appreciate. There's not a lot of bloatware. Basically, all these apps are apps that I've added. So you do see that I have to actually add a few of the Google apps, so like Play Music, Play Games. It didn't come with those. But out of the box, it comes with basically just the basics. It does come with Google Play Store though, so you can download those. You don't have to like find a way to backdoor that in or anything like that. So that's kind of cool. But other than that, I think that about covers it. The only other thing that I wanted to make sure I covered in this video is the speaker. So we got that bottom firing speaker. So I'm going to go ahead and play this song, which is, and I'm going to crank it up. This is non-copyrighted music here. Put it right up to the microphone now. Okay, so I will say this, the speaker does not get very loud in my experience, so definitely not as loud as I like a speaker to get, and that's actually with a kind of like a boost already turned on, because there is an option within the settings to boost that. One other thing worth mentioning that I forgot is it does shoot in 1080p. It does not shoot in 4K, and the front also shoots in 1080p. So definitely worth mentioning there as well. So I think that about covers everything. If there's any questions that you have about this device, go ahead and leave those down in the comments section, and I will come out with a full review a little bit later on this device. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all. Oh, one more thing. Link down in the description if you're interested in picking this up from gearbest.com. Helps out the channel and support the channel if you do that. And as always, thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.